Today we prove Gauss law in two cases. This I am using this surface S, where I can convincingly prove the Gauss law. It is applicable in all the surfaces, but for the sake of the proof, I have taken this surface in a particular form, and I am discussing both the cases. Alright, this is for case 2, this is for case 1. In case 1 is for surface enclosing the charge. For this, I have to draw this diagram. So this is the surface of surface area S. In the first case, I take charge Q inside the surface. So charge Q is inside the surface. Now I am discussing what is the electric flux coming from the Gauss law. I am showing that the flux from this closed surface enclosing the charge is equal to 1 by epsilon naught times the charge enclosed by the surface. Say a point charge Q is inside the surface. Don't confuse with the top portion. This I am using for the second case. Second case is for surface not enclosing the charge. Charge Q is outside the surface. In case 1, charge is inside the surface. Okay, Q is inside the surface. For that I am taking this. So it is a positive charge. It is sending all the electric lines of forces. The electric lines of forces are diverging from this charge and they are coming out from this surface. At this point they are going out. Alright. This is the surface. Okay. I have taken only along the cone enclosed by this. How many are going out within this cone? That is very important for me. So many lines of forces are passing through this. Okay, they are going out from this. That I am calculating. How many are going? So they are going here from the surface of area ds1. ds1 is the area of this, from which they are coming out. Okay, coming out means positive flux. And these lines again they are entering the surface here. They are entering the surface area ds2. So here flux, incoming flux, we will take it negative. Lines of forces are coming into there. That is the sign convention. Going out positive, coming in negative. And again they are going out from this. This is a ds3. Surface area ds3, and these are the direction of the normal from this. For this surface, this is the normal. Here the electric intensity is E1 and making an angle theta 1 with the normal, because lines of forces are going out. So this is the direction of E and it is making an angle theta 1 with the normal to the surface ds1. E1 is the value of electric intensity at this point. And when you come to this point, here the surface area is a ds2 and angle made by E with the normal is a theta 2. Here theta 3 is the angle made with normal to the surface ds3. Here electric intensity is E3. Here electric intensity is E2. Here electric intensity is E1. Okay, this is the area. So when a charge is inside the surface, here the shape shows it is going out, entering, again it is going out. Okay. Now I have to find the total flux in this case, which encloses the charge Q. Okay. This is equal to phi is equal to, what I have to do is I have to take whatever the surface area integral, because for only this surface at ds1 it is E normal, okay, E normal into ds1. If I take the surface integral over the surface, then I will get how many will go at this point out from the surface. Again here that is surface integral, again I have to integrate, but this time this is I will call E1, this is E2, ds2, again it is E3, ds3. I have taken vector that will take care about the signs. So ds1, it is only for this area, and E1 is the electric intensity on the surface ds1. For total I have to take which is going out. Here they are entering, again here they are going out. For that purpose I have taken the surface this way. In order to increase entering, leaving, entering, the surface is taken in a particular shape. Okay, that increases the number of the cases. Okay, when it does this, the total electric flux phi is equal to, this E1 can be written as, you know how do you write electric intensity due to a point charge. This is equal to, I will write this is surface integral Q divided by 4 pi epsilon R1 square, because this is the distance R1 square into ds1, right? If I take cos theta, that will taken care. This is called vectorial area, because this is the dot product of two vectors. The surface area we call, this is the vector surface area, and this is E cos theta is nothing but E cos ds. You can write one more step here. We want, if you remove these vector signs, this dot product can be written as surface integral E1 cos theta into ds1 plus, this is flux are entering here, so I can make it entering is minus, they are going out here positive, they are entering the surface negative, again they are going out positive. So here it is E2 cos theta 2 into ds2 plus, this is again surface integral, this is closed surface, the symbol we write is for closed. E3 cos theta 3 into ds3. Okay. This is minus because flux line, electric lines are entering. These two are positive because they are going out. Okay, if I write the value of E1 for this, then I think I can write here. The flux phi is equal to integral, surface integral, E1 can be written as Q divided by 4 pi epsilon R1 square cos theta 1 into ds1. Okay, this minus surface integral Q divided by 4 pi epsilon R2 square cos theta 2 into ds2 plus surface integral Q divided by 4 pi epsilon R3 square cos theta 3 ds3. Okay, like this we write. And Q divided by 4 pi epsilon is common in all these. Okay, it is here. It is here, and it is common for all these irrespective of the surfaces. I will check it out, and what is left out here is surface integral ds1 cos theta 1 divided by r1 square plus, okay, minus this is surface integral ds2 cos theta 2 divided by r2 square plus surface integral q divided cos ds3 cos theta 3 divided by r3 square. Okay. So now, if you write this flux, this is common, and this is nothing but, if you take this ds1 cos theta 1 by r square, this term, this is nothing but the solid angle. Okay, ds cos theta y d omega gives the solid angle. Whenever angle is made by two lines, from the cone you will get the solid angle. If you want this area, this solid angle in a cone, that is given by ds1 cos theta 1 by r square. How much going out of this cone formed by this? Okay, that much is going out, and that is given by ds1, this surface, into cos theta 1 divided by r1 square, this. And here this is also solid angle. Here instead of ds1 I am getting ds2 cos theta 2 divided by distance r2 square. This is same because these are the boundaries. Here if you take ds1 cos theta 1, if you take in the front only in the surface divided by this distance square, in this surface divided by this distance square, in this surface, because enclosing this thing is same, they are coming from this within this cone. So these are all, they give the solid angle. So I will write this is the d omega. If you I take the total, this is d omega is the solid angle going out here, and the same solid angle here minus, because they are coming in, going out, coming in, going out. So d omega. Okay, this is the thing I am going to get. Then phi is equal to 4 pi epsilon, and this and this goes, only d omega, and d omega value is nothing but, that value is nothing but, it is 4 pi r square divided by r square. This is our total surface over the cone, surface area over the cone divided by the radius vector. So 4 pi gets cancelled, r square get cancelled. So this becomes q divided by epsilon. Because the d omega, the total solid angle is given by total surface area divided by this. And what is the dw? dw is nothing but ds cos theta divided by r square. These are the things you should remember. I have substituted here and they get cancelled. This is q divided by epsilon. This is the proof of Gauss law. What Gauss law says? The total flux, the surface integral v dot ds, which is nothing but q divided by epsilon, where q is the total charge enclosed. Here we have taken for simplicity only one charge. So we proved this in the case where the surface enclosing the charge. It is true for number of charges. I have taken for simplicity only one charge. It is true for number of charges. Okay. Next, we prove case 2. Case 2 is for surface not enclosing the charge. That is there in the same figure. For that reason, I have drawn the second case also. Here, charge q is outside the surface. In the first case, I have taken charge q inside the surface. Here, charge is outside the surface. Here, the lines of forces are entering, positive flux, leaving negative flux, again entering positive flux, leaving negative flux. So in this case, the total flux phi is equal to surface integral E dot ds is equal to, then it will become, in the first case it is surface integral E1 ds1 plus E2 surface integral E2 ds2. For this, again we are entering surface integral E3 ds3 surface integral E4 ds4. Okay. Then if I make this vector, if I take it in a dot product of this E1 cos theta 1 ds1 is minus, because entering E2 cos theta 2 ds2 plus E3 cos surface integral E3 cos theta 3 ds3, entering here leaving. This is this is entering is minus, leaving is plus, again entering is minus, leaving is plus. So surface integral E4 cos theta 4 ds4. If you write this, if I take q divided by 4 pi epsilon, then this becomes minus, okay, ds1 cos theta 1 divided by cos r1 square. Similarly, plus ds2 for all these integration, okay. This is for integration, ds2 cos theta 2 divided by r2 square minus surface integral ds3 cos theta 3 divided by r3 square plus integration ds4 cos theta 4 divided by r4 square. Or you can write this q divided by 4 pi epsilon. This is surface integral minus d omega angle, solid angle, plus d omega minus d omega plus d omega. That becomes 0. So surface integral E dot ds for a surface does not enclosing the charge, because charge is outside. In that case, the total electric flux is 0, because whatever incoming, that is going out. So there are net outward flow is 0. This is the proof of Gauss law in two cases. Case 1, surface enclosing the charge. Case 2, surface not enclosing the charge. Gauss law is true for all the Gaussian surfaces. I have taken this in a particular shape in order to increase these cases. And I have taken only one point charge. It is true for number of point charges in the